Sainers, welcome back to Trade Talk on the Saints TV YouTube channel on a Friday. Hope you all have had a great week so far. I just thought I'd do a bit of a trade summary, just kind of where certain things are at. No breaking news at the moment, although probably by the time I drop this video, there's always something that pops up that I miss. But I just wanted to go through some of the key discussion points over the last week or two. Tim Membrey, no movement there, so that's just where it's at, where it was from the last video with Melbourne and North Melbourne being of interest. And of course, something happened while I was editing. Dan Houston, St Kilda has supposedly cooled their interest, drawing back from the dual All-Australian powered defender. The Saints were among 4 clubs to recently meet with Houston, who is keen to return to Melbourne, where he has strong personal pull, but is understood to have cooled their pursuit in attracting him to the club. Port Adelaide is chasing an early draft selection, another strong draft pick for the 27-year-old playmaker, and St Kilda loomed as a club that could strike a deal, given it will be hoping to land a Band 1 compensation pick for free agent. Josh Battles' move to Hawthorn, that would give the clubs pick 7 and 8, with the second a potential chip to land Houston. However, the Saints are believed to have pulled away from the Houston race, leaving Carlton, Collingwood and the Bulldogs in the hunt. North Melbourne, who has held interest in Houston and put forward its 2025 future first round pick for him, but the Roos weren't part of the clubs he spoke with recently. So there you have it, Sainers. Looks like we've cooled our interest on Dan Houston. Looking like we want to use pick 8 or the compensation for Josh Battle either at the draft or for another reason we are not sure of yet. But I know a lot of people are on the fence about Dan Houston, whether we should go for him or not. And obviously a lot of people were on the side that, giving up a first round pick when we could take it to the draft and get a young mid would be a bit silly. But yeah, looks like we're taking a step back. It doesn't say we're out of the race, but it looks like we're just looking at other options and judging by what Port Adelaide want for him, we're not too interested in facilitating that. So keep an eye on that one, but that is the news on Dan Houston as of now. The other one is GWS midfielder James Peatling. He's said to be of interest. He struggled to get minutes into the GWS midfield, but he's been good this season. Man of the match in a couple of games that I've watched. He's been excellent. Kicked a good goal last week in the qualifying final loss to Sydney. He was on radio yesterday and basically said that finals is the focus, or that crap that all these players say. Really, I can't worry about a contract because I got footy to worry about. Mate, we all know that that's just, smoke and mirrors. He said that his future is at GWS, that he wants to stay at GWS. He doesn't have a contract next season, but he's going to be working through that post-season, post-finals. I think he's still one that we can look at. I think Collingwood are pretty into him as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition for his services simply because he's young, he fits our demographic, he's not going to cost a lot, he's got a high ceiling, I think, and he fits a need for us. So there's so many reasons why we should be looking at him pretty hard. And I think he is actually quite gettable. Some of these ones we talk about, they're not really that gettable right now, but he's absolutely gettable, and I think we have a relationship with the Giants. We got Josh Bruce, we got Jack Steele, and a James Peatling to that. That could work. So let's see how that goes. I don't believe a word he says when he says that he's gonna, he wants to stay at the Giants and he's going to be a Giant next year. Obviously, there's still a lot to play out, and money talks and opportunity talks too. He'll get more minutes in our midfield than he'll ever get in the GWS midfield at the moment. The other one is Jack Macrae. Quickly run you through that one. Pick 43 might be on the table for that. Apparently, Geelong had joined the race, but I've also read that they're not going to be in it. They're really focused on the prelim, and obviously they're focused on acquiring Bailey Smith, so he fits more of the demographic for them. They've got an aging list, as we all know, that we've known that for the last 20 years. But Jack Macrae doesn't really fit that, I don't think. He'll be an easy get for them, but they've got Danger, they've got these sort of players in there. They're all 30 and above anyway, so I don't think adding another 30-year-old in there is going to do much for a season. Obviously, Bailey Smith is on the younger side, got huge potential, so they're going to worry about getting him. For us, we're losing Seb Ross. Obviously, Zach Jones is still not signed. And Brad Crouch hasn't played in 12 months. So Jack Macrae fits a need for us. It's a bit of experience. He's a ball pig. He just knows how to find the footy. And I think that's a start. And if we're going to be drafting all these young mids, to learn off Steele and Macrae these sort of guys that know the ropes in the middle, I think he's pretty handy. So, and if he only costs us pick 43, I know it's a salary dump for the Dogs, but if it's 43, it's nothing. So, and we've got the money, so I don't think the salary is going to be a major problem for us. And if it's pick 43, great. If they want more than that, I think they're barking up the wrong tree and they can look elsewhere. But 43 for Macrae, I think that's pretty simple there. The other one is Port Adelaide ruckman Ivan Soldo. Jordan Sweet is taking that position, so he's not getting much of a go. He's obviously a very experienced ruckman. He's a bit more of the lumbering type, tap work, more so than Marshall, and I think that works pretty well. I don't think it would cost a whole lot. And he's like I said, he's very experienced, so I think that could work. Obviously, in my last video, I mentioned Ned Reeves from Hawthorn. He's behind Lloyd Meek by a fair way now, so he's of interest on top of that. So I've got a couple of options there, and that goes with, obviously, the youngsters in Max Heath and Isaac Keeler, who are yet to debut, but obviously raw talents and could end up being pretty good ruckmen in their own right. But in the meantime, losing Tom Campbell, delisting Tom Campbell, I think having a bit of support for Rowan Marshall would be handy. And maybe we can look at the two-pronged ruck, the two-headed monster again if we can. We haven't had that since Paddy Ryder, and that was a very unique situation for us. It put us in, a lot of games, won us a lot of games, that sort of partnership. Maybe we could release Rowe forward and around the ground a little bit more, while a Soldo or a Ned Reeves can handle the centre bounce and tap work. I think that could work quite nicely. And then the last one that's popped up here, it's just, it's very subtle, but it's a pretty big one. It's not for this season, it's for next season. Andy Brayshaw from Fremantle. Obviously, we've been linked to him. We've got significant salary cap room. He's Victorian. Rumour is that potentially end of next season when he's out of contract, he'll want to come back to Victoria. He's worked under Ross Lyon before. Absolutely loves Ross Lyon. He's lauded Ross Lyon in his younger years at Freo. And he's absolutely in that demographic that we need. He's a leader. He's he's an excellent midfielder. And I think he could fit into our team very, very nicely. These sort of deals obviously take a long time. We've been linked to LDU in the same bracket, end of next year. So there's going to be a lot of movement, I think, end of next year. This year we'll hit the draft and we'll get some good players. And end of next year there's going to be some good players out of contract that hopefully, if our on-field performance is up to standard, up to scratch, we'll be able to demand, we'll be a destination club for some of these players. And Andy Brayshaw's right up there. So that's one that we'll keep an eye on. Look at the Cats and Bailey Smith. These aren't overnight deals. These take 6, 12, 18 months of just ongoing discussions and selling the dream, really. So hopefully we can do that for a player like him, because I feel like he would fit in very nicely with the core sort of up-and-coming midfield that we're starting to develop at the club. And on top of that, not much else. Dougal Howard signed a contract 1 year. That's I think that was needed. We don't have another fullback. As much as people like to complain that he signed a year, I thought his back end of the season was pretty good. And if we don't have him at fullback, who the hell do we have, So just think about it like that. We need Dukes. And that's kind of the last of it. No other major trade talks at the moment. If anything pops up, Saners, I will keep you posted as much as I can. Zach Jones still without a contract. Tim Membrey up in the air. North Melbourne interested. And that's kind of where everything's at. So appreciate your time, Saners. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. Take care, and as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.